Give me Abdul Carter. No explanation necessary. He's at plus 250 right now, the same length of odds as Ashton Genty is to win Offensive Rookie of the Year for good reason. You watched the tape last year at Penn State. The guy's a freak. And that was his first year rushing the passer off the edge. I think with that defense, too, he's a guy that, kind of like we said with TJ Watt, he can get to the top of the pocket. He will find sacks. He's athletic enough, like Micah Parsons was early on in his career, where if Dexter Lawrence can push a quarterback outside the pocket, Abdul Carter is going to track you down. He has no problem finding quarterbacks in space. And because of that, I think he puts up big numbers right out the gate. And I think the odds are correct. Like, I think he has as good a chance as Genty does to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's just how far ahead of the field I see him right now.
I'm going to go with Travis Hunter.
Nice.
The second pick, because as I stated earlier, they've got a dominant receiver there in Jacksonville. If they do want to situationally put Travis Hunter out there to create some mismatches in the low red area, short area quickness, it thrives down there in the low red. And you're not doing that anaerobic style of just running 40 yards down the field, running back to the huddle, running a 25-yard post. He's not going to be asked to do that. He's going to score some touchdowns in the red area, and he's going to play dominant defense, and he's going to create turnovers for our offense to give himself another chance down in the red zone. That's realistic. What's not realistic is playing both sides of the ball, getting worn down, and not being able to play to your explosive capacity. I got Travis Hunter with the second pick. I think he's going to have a special season on the defensive side of the ball. Now I get the third pick, correct?
Yep.
The third pick, and my pick to win the AFC is the Baltimore Ravens edge, Mike Green.
Ooh.
Okay. You're stepping into a room of sharks. You better become a shark. And I wholeheartedly believe that Mike Green will benefit from being in that room with that attacking secondary, with the ferocious second level of the defense. And I think he's going to be a big part of the identity of that front seven in Baltimore. I think they make a run this year, and it's going to be one at the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball.
Green, if I were stacking up this year's edge class, he was probably the second most NFL ready edge rusher after Abdul Carter, who we just touched on. And he goes to a great spot because I don't think he does much more than third downs and basically the times where you can just pin your ears back. And I think in those situations,
they're going to score
be
points.
Extremely effective.
He's going to have opportunities to rush the passer.
So he might be a 500 snap, but still double-digit sack guy because he's in a lot of situations where that's just advantageous to rush the passer. So, and then when you're on a defense like that, and I think specifically for Defensive Rookie of the Year, you just get talked about more. You will be discussed on
this is the good
Monday
team bias.
Sunday Night Football. It's real. It happens every single year for voters. So
now here's a guy that had no business playing for the Baltimore Ravens, but you know how this draft thing works out. You know how the Baltimore upper management operates.
Mike Green. Yeah, second rounder, but obviously a lot of people's boards, he was a top 20 guy. My guy. Next. I'm going Mason Graham just because I think it's still a talent-based award. It's still, there were two guys I had pretty high evals on this defensive class, obviously Travis Hunter aside. It was Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. I thought they were kind of Carter a clear tier above Graham, but then Graham a clear tier above everyone else in terms of just that guy's going to be good. Is it year one? Obviously, DT is a very difficult position to translate to out the gate. We've seen it historically, just the physical nature of the position takes some getting used to. Basically, the strongest guy that you face in your college career ends up being your below average guy at the NFL level. So you just aren't, there's just a difference in terms of what you've seen versus what you're going to see. And strength isn't something like explosiveness where strength can be improved on all the way until your 30s, right? You can keep getting stronger. You can keep getting, adding more muscle to your frame throughout. Can't really add explosiveness, but you can keep getting stronger. And obviously in the NFL, guards, offensive linemen, centers, they do that. So Mason Graham, I'm not saying he's going to. Obviously, I think there's a reason Abdul Carter's odds-on favorite, but I just think he is very NFL ready, and that's why I'm taking him here. My next one. When you said Ravens, I thought you were going to go Malachi Starks. I'm going to pass Malachi. I'm going Jihad Campbell.
Yep.
Because of kind of what I said earlier in that when you're on one of the best defenses in the NFL and one of the biggest name teams in the NFL, you get talked about every single game. And when you're a first round pick, the way Jihad Campbell was, and just watching his tape last year, I thought he was such a perfect fit for Vic Fangio's scheme. Putting him next to Zach Bond is going to be difficult to play against for opposing offenses. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I think even compared to Kobe Dean, what he can do just from a size, wingspan, shutting down windows perspective is going to be tough to pass on, especially when Zach Bond's, a pretty long, larger off-ball linebacker as well. So those two next to each other, rack up tackles, rack up PBUs. And if that's the case, Jihad Campbell could very well be your rookie of the year.
I love the pick, and the spot's there for the taking right now from a health standpoint. And I've been part of Vic Fangio teams with two good linebackers, and it's like unfair to play against. It's even more unfair to practice against because they have familiarity with you. I think Jihad Campbell's a guy that plugs in and immediately has success. I'm going to go. I get two picks here.
Yes.
I'm going to start with Jaylen Walker just because I know how hard it is to pass protect on turf. And he's going to have a lot of opportunities to do that. I think that the Falcons' offense is a prolific one. And with Michael Penix Jr. at the quarterback position, just like we talked about getting opportunities, this defensive line will have opportunities to rush the passer. Much has been made about the lack of pass rush in Atlanta. You can bet that this guy is ready to turn the tide for that edge rushing unit. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. And as I said, I made this my point first. Turf is a nightmare to block people on.
Yeah, and if you just go historically, I think of the past 7 or of the past 6 rookie of the years, 5 have been pass rushers, edge rushers specifically. So it gives a lot of deference to the guys who attack opposing quarterbacks.
The next one, I don't know if he's going to get signed, but I know how much his teammate across the line from him gets after the quarterback and how all eyes will be on Trey Hendrickson. How about Jamar Stewart for the Bengals? I don't know if he's in college or if he's in the NFL. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But if you tell me he's available, if he's on the list of draftable guys for this, I'm going to take him because we know about Joe Burrow. We know about Trey Hendrickson. He's going to get one-on-one opportunities. Yeah. And another turf guy, albeit outside, he's a turf guy. You got to watch out for them.
I hope they sign him. I was with a lot of Bengals fans over the weekend who were very much lamenting that pick at this point in time. But gosh, it would be classic Bengals if they go into week 1, week 2, and he's not on that roster.
Wow.
Unfortunately. All right, I get 2 to wrap it up, and then you get 2. Gosh, I'm going to go first with Malachi Starks, just because I think he is incredibly NFL ready at safety position. He's in an awesome spot where the rest of that secondary is so good that his life will be easier just because of how much ground everyone else can, make up. That the windows get smaller, and the amount of ground he has to cover gets smaller when you have those guys in the secondary. And I just thought he was on tape at Georgia, so NFL ready, such a playmaker that I'm putting him here. The last one, I'm debating this, but I'm going to go with Carson Schlesinger because, again, it is a award that goes to linebackers, corners, and edge rushers. Rarely do DTs win it. Rarely do safeties win it, even though I just picked a safety. But linebackers, they have some of the easiest stats to point to right out the gate, tackles. And what does he have? A havoc-creating defensive line in front of him that's going to lead to a lot of easy runways for Carson Schlesinger to go make some plays. And what I saw from him in his very first year of starting, because he's only had 1 year of starter at UCLA, was a guy who was very confident. To be as confident as he was that early on in his starting career in college, I expect to translate better than some of the highly talented linebackers we've seen in years past who maybe didn't have that to their game. So Carson Schlesinger, my last Hail Mary here in the defensive rookie of the year draft.
So those are all your picks, and I get 2 picks here.
Yep.
Okay, I firmly agree with you about linebackers having something easy to point to statistically. I mean, that's the issue with O-linemen. You can't really judge people on stats on the O-line.
Correct.
But linebackers, you can do that. For the next pick, we talked about
It's your last pick. This is the last pick.
My next pick, the last pick. Okay. There's plenty of guys I would love to pick here. I'd love to pick Jahdae Barron. I think he's a beast. And obviously you go into that room and it's awesome, but I'm not going to pick Jahdae Barron. I'm going to pick another edge rusher, Donovan Ezeraku. Okay. Playing opposite Micah Parsons. And you bring in a big receiver like Pickens, you know you're going to have points scored on offense. Dak Prescott always does that. Look, this guy gets after the quarterback. He wins a lot. He's got to figure out some of Micah Parsons' special sauce. And when he does that, we're going to be talking about that as one of those units that you just fear as an offensive line because they're attacking us from everywhere, sir. We don't know what to do, sir, type shit. That's what it's going to be in New York Giants defensive front. And the Cowboys can create that a little bit with these two edge rushers.
Yeah, Ezeraku also amongst the edge class, like he has moves. You know, some of these guys that were drafted ahead of him, like say a James Pierce, like say Michael Williams, even a Jamar Stewart, they got by as athletes. They didn't get by as technicians. Ezeraku has that to his game already. So I think that'll bode well for his transition in the NFL, and then also playing on the defensive line obviously bodes well for a lot of guys' transition. So to recap, Kyle has Travis Hunter, Mike Green, Jaylen Walker, Jamar Stewart, Donovan Ezeraku. I have Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Jihad Campbell, Malachi Starks, and Carson Schwarzenegger. Jihad Campbell, excuse me. I don't want to put a jihad on him.